I want to share with you today a little bit about why I am doing this Substack, owning a business, and why I think it's important, especially for the owners of business interests who have some doubt or concern about their ability to obtain the maximum value possible from that business interest. Now let me be clear about one thing, and that is I have nothing against anybody who is operating a business as a lifestyle, as a passion. There are many reasons to have a small to medium-sized business, and for the most part, I think that those motives are very much a part of the business and the people that run the business. But I'm going to generalize here and say that most of the business owners that I have known over the years have a common interest, and that interest is to get the most possible value from their business interest. Sure, there's passion, there's whatever it is that made them obtain an interest in the business, in many cases even create the business. But at the bottom line, what you pass on, what your legacy is, what you're able to do for your children and your spouse, what you can do to help others in your community has to do with how well you extract the value that you've created in the business. Now, there are a lot of ways to pass on a business succession. And I am going to tell you right now that many of those ways do not provide a business owner with the maximum value. There are others who are involved in the business who can obtain your business interest as a process of succession, but what they'll be willing to pay for that interest and what they will have in mind will be vastly less than what you could get from a third party who is interested in purchasing the business. What I am recommending to a business owner is that you look down the road 3 to 5 years and ask yourself, who would buy my business? And if you don't come up with anybody, maybe the next thing to ask is, would I buy this business now or in 3 years? And what can I do to make this business attractive to a potential buyer? In essence, this is the prior diligence strategy. What does a business owner have to do to put a business in an attractive, saleable status so that a sale to a third-party buyer for maximum value can be accomplished? Now you may say, I'm not so sure that there is a third-party buyer. I don't really see people buying and selling a business like mine. Well, that may be the case, but I have seen a good many businesses where people start out thinking that the business can't be sold, and in fact it is sold. This is true for professional businesses. It's true for many businesses that are thought of initially as lifestyle businesses but become very lucrative businesses for sale. The core principle here is that if you don't look down the road 3 to 5 years and ask yourself, how does this business present itself for sale, then you'll never get there. But if you do take that view, if you do adopt the prior diligence strategy, that strategy will take you there. Now, it's not easy. And what you have to do to create that strategy is not easy. But the benefit at the end of the road is tremendous. I challenge you to look around your business community at the businesses that have successfully sold to third parties. There probably aren't many, but those that have sold have some common characteristics. I've been involved in businesses for a good many years, and I can tell you right now that one of the key characteristics of a business that can be sold to a sophisticated third-party buyer is that the owner selling the business is not an integral part of that business. Meaning that if you're managing your business and you're the only one that can do it, and you're the only one that's responsible, and you're the one in on Sunday morning to make sure everything's all right on Monday, then your business will not be available for sale to a sophisticated buyer for maximum value. If you are an owner only and not engaging in business management, then you've taken the key step in making your business more valuable to a sophisticated third-party buyer. A sophisticated third-party buyer is not looking for a job. They do not want to buy a business to rehabilitate it or manage it. They want to buy a business that's running itself. They want to buy a business that is profitable, a business that has management in place that is functioning well. Is that the case with your business? Chances are it's not. But how do we get there? That's what prior diligence strategy is about. Prior diligence strategy enables the owners of a business to consider how they are going to present this business for sale in 3 to 5 years. And then once that strategy is written down, they implement the steps that are necessary to accomplish that goal of getting maximum value for the business interests of all the owners with dynamic planning. Dynamic planning is planning that communicates to all elements of the business, from goals to actions taken to revisions, and communicates that as it happens. It can be as simple as a spreadsheet. It can be a more complicated software program. It can be a variety of different things. But to be dynamic, it has to communicate to all levels of the business what the changes of the business may be. Owning a business as a Substack also has a chat feature which allows a business owner to ask questions. I monitor the chat, and I am more than willing to answer questions in a way that in the past I have charged a good deal of money to answer. I want this to be a place where people who have business interests can talk about how to gain value from those interests and the steps they have to take. As I said before, none of this is easy, but it's doable. It's doable with focus and determination, just like starting a business. So take a look at Owning a Business, the Substack, rickrebusel.substack.com. And if it interests you, please subscribe. If you're a paid subscriber, you'll have access to all the archives, which contain detailed descriptions of the concepts and implementation of prior diligence and dynamic planning. And then if you have questions, if something doesn't make sense or you're having difficulties, there's the chat feature. Ask your questions. I will answer them, and other people involved can answer them. And I'm thinking that that will be maybe the most valuable resource of the Substack. I appreciate your attention to this, and I hope to see you soon on the Owning a Business Substack.